Welcome back to the kickoff today. We're doing a little mini match of the day style review of the biggest games of the weekend. We're going to start with Arsenal, lads. Liverpool had slipped up previously to Aston Villa, which wasn't a bad point away from home, but still it gave, Arsenal a bit of hope coming into a game against West Ham at home. Not only did they not win, they didn't even draw. They got a man sent off. It felt a bit miserable. Jacob, it must have been fucking frustrating for you, pal.
Mate, it is nuts how in the space of like 3 days you go from doing the maths, it's back on. If Liverpool drop points, it might only be 3 points. Then we go, never mind beating them to the league. We might even have a bit of a gap when we win the league because it's going to be so easy for us because it's so numerically. And then like that. Do you know what Arsenal fans have done over the last couple of weeks? We focused so much on Liverpool and are thinking, where are they going to drop points? They've got 5 games in 2 weeks. They've got to go to the Etihad. They've got to go to Villa. That we forgot. We're shit. We're shit. We're shit.
It did look that way in that last game.
Let me tell you a statistic. This statistic will blow your mind. For a team that thinks we're going to win Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, West Ham, Saturday, that is the 8th time this season we failed to score a goal. 8 times. It's February. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Oh. And the way they cut yous open as well, that Wan-Bissaka cross into Bowen, it was uncharacteristically poor defending, right? You must have been frustrated with the goal.
So frustrated with the goal. I mean, Wan-Bissaka was the best player on the pitch, and that is saying something.
No one's ever said that. Look,
mate, I mean, listen, we're not here to dig out Man United. We never do that on the kickoff. But I will say, Wan-Bissaka walks in that team and he suits that system now. But no,
mate, that's so true.
Yeah,
so fucking true.
Honestly, they should look at signing him. He might like a Old Trafford.
Honestly, I got to give credit to West Ham because I thought they played really well, and there was some moments where I thought, wow, like this is one of their best performances of the season. Arsenal have lost actually twice in a row now at home to West Ham, 2 seasons in a row. Craig, Josh, what did you make of the fact that Arsenal again, they're dropping points just when we think, oh, there's an opportunity, they just fail at that hurdle? What do you think of that?
Let me. I think it's time to start my Mikel Arteta agenda. Obviously, it's been creeping in the last couple years, when they were fighting for top 4 and they just missed out to us. I think that was like 3 seasons ago. They kind of bottled top 4. And then they were in pole position for their first title challenge. What were they? How many points were they ahead? I think they were on like this. They were top of the league for a record amount of days. Bottled it. Last season, okay, it was a bit of a weird season, but still they came up short. And this season, okay, they wasn't in pole position this season, but the way they're dropping points and the manner in which they've dropped points this season, getting red cards, silly fouls that have put them behind early on in the season, I'm starting to look at the manager now. I'm sorry, I am starting to look at the manager and the mentality he's instilling in this team. The disciplinary issues we're seeing once again crop up when it's crunch time. The way his best players are not performing. Who are you going to blame? I mean, look, I'm seeing Arsenal fans turning on Martin Odegaard now. Their captain, their skipper, easily, talent-wise, one of their best players in the squad. And I'm seeing a lot of it on the timeline. I don't know about in real life because I don't conversate with many Arsenal fans in real life. I have better things to do. However, I'm seeing a lot of people, and a couple of my brethren are saying that Martin Odegaard is becoming a bit of a fraud. They're saying when it matters, he's not showing up. He's poor.
He's not the only one as well, is he, Craig? When you look at the way Arsenal were shaping up when they were at their best under Mikel Arteta, obviously Saka playing at his best is in that cocktail there, but that's not possible right now for injury, and I take no blame on Saka for that. But Martinelli has dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
There's a clip going around, I'm sure you've all seen it, where Robbie talks about Arsenal signing Mbappe, getting rid of Martinelli, and saying all of the lads on AFTV would rather keep Martinelli. And you look at that now and you just think, fuck me, that's aged like milk. Because Martinelli, I mean, he's nowhere near the best left winger in the league now. He barely impacts the game when he is fit.
I think the problem is, though, when I look at Arsenal, right, for such a top team with an amazing defense, and that's credit to Mikel Arteta, he's built that, right? And he hasn't, I wouldn't say he has the tools at his disposal that maybe Man City have, or the other top teams in Europe, even like Real Madrid, these. But my problem with Arsenal right now is the front line. Their front line is definitely well below par to all the other top teams in Europe that they're going to be compared to. They got way better players, all the other teams in Europe, from Real Madrid, Barcelona, even Man City, Liverpool. These teams have better front lines than Arsenal. So I give them some leeway on that. If they had a striker, I think we would be looking at a different picture right here. However, though, players like Martin Odegaard, who is the skipper, they need to start stepping up. When you're in crunch time like this and it's a title race, there's no excuses for putting in poor performances. This is when we need to see the best from these sorts of players, especially if they're the best players. They're supposed to be the leaders in the team. They need to step up. And I'm not seeing that from the current crop that's available right now. That team out there, even with a front line gone, should have been able to get past West Ham. Yes, West Ham were good. Yes, they were organized very well, but you're in a title race. You're at home. They should be getting past West Ham by hook or by crook, in my opinion.
We'll move on to Chelsea, lads, unless there's anything else you want to add to that in terms of the title race for Arsenal. Is it over now, or are we just having to accept that they're just not going to have enough to keep pushing them?
It's over. It's over. It's so over. Do you know why it's over, Brian? Because like, if we were to win every game this season, it's probably over, right? But the truth is, we're gonna turn out that performance again, because we're gonna start Mikel Merino at number 9 again. We're gonna rely on a fucking sixth former at right wing again. Martinelli's out injured. He's gonna come back, but it's him again. Odegaard isn't gonna step up. This is. You can point to recruitment with this team, and my God, does this club need a big summer, a big summer. Until then, nothing's changing. It's the same group of players with the same problems that have turned in 8 performances where they failed to score a goal, and I guarantee you they'll do at least 2 more. So no, it's done. Well done, Liverpool.
As much as I think Arteta deserves another season, because obviously the improvements are there in terms of where he picked them up to where they are now. This summer it feels like a defining moment in his managerial career. It's like, you've made clear errors. This is your chance to get it right. If he doesn't get it right, then he's going to be sacked in the next couple of years, in my opinion. I don't see it lasting.
One to watch. Saliba, 2 years left on a contract, and Real Madrid have got big interest there.
I bet.
And it's Saka as well. That's crunch time. So we need a big summer.
And they need a reason to stay, and they're not being given one without the medals. On to Chelsea, who lost again to Aston Villa, this time 2-1. They actually didn't play too badly, I thought, in this game. Like, they've played some stinking matches lately. Started well. Neto set up Enzo for 1-0, but Villa came back into it with Marcus Rashford delivering 2 assists to Asensio. Granted, the keeper for Chelsea let the second one in so fucking easily. But Chelsea, again, just lacking that firepower, Jackson's now injured, but beforehand he went through a stinking run. Cole Palmer, as much as I don't think he's playing badly within his touches and his passing or anything, but he's just been a bit of a non-event in front of goal for the last, 10, 15 games? I can't remember how many it is now. Josh, how are you feeling about the way the season's just sort of turning into shit?
I mean, it's disintegrating, and I think I'm looking at the next 3 games, and we've got Southampton and Leicester at home, and then I think it's Arsenal before the international break, which is an away game.
Southampton's a great game if you need a win. Fuck me.
It is. But what I'm saying now, I think we've just got to hang on. I think we've got to try and get if we can get 6 points out of those 3 games and just cling on to top 4, then obviously we have a chance. Because the reason why I say that is, after that international break, then we are talking about Jackson returning. We're talking about Mark Gu potentially returning. We're talking about Lavia returning, Wesley Fofana returning. I've often been called, injury expert FC here. I do think that the Chelsea injuries are really implicating us at the moment. I did have a look at the injury table, and much unlike the Premier League table, we are top of that. So if you're taking any benefit out of this,
is it really that far off of your first choice side? When I look at the midfield, Enzo, Caicedo, when I look at up front, obviously you've got your first choice front 3 outside of Jackson, but then even then, Nkunku was brought in to be ahead of Jackson, and he's just been such a flop that he hasn't delivered. I mean,
he's not in the starting 11 by a mile. I mean, Noni Madueke not being involved. I mean, you don't have Jackson.
Nowhere near as good as Neto, by the way. So again, I put him in there with Nkunku. He's flopped as well.
Yeah. I mean, Neto looks so exciting as a centre forward option, which, do you know what is interesting? We've just been talking about Arsenal. if we do have Neto and he performs in the way that he performed in that last game, then it is a decent option to then go against a team like Southampton and Leicester. But my God, if we do not get the 6 points out of those two games, Enzo Maresca is going to be in a world of pain. By the way, there is a protest before this Southampton game against the board and against the recruitment that has been going on. They effectively want the board to fuck off. That is, imagine if there's a protest and then we don't get 3 points against Southampton.
Are you going to go?
It is going to be apocalyptic.
Are you going?
Processing.
So, I don't know if you guys know this. I think
a little placard.
I've told Brian this before, but I often just go for a nice steak before the match. I'm kind of planning on just doing that, to be honest. I'm kind of just going to have a Diet Coke and a steak, and I'll just enjoy it from
Look, if any Chelsea
sidelines.
fans are getting annoyed at Josh for not protesting, do you want him to go hungry? Like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a growing boy. He needs his food. All right. Can you kind of give me an answer as to what's happened to Cole Palmer in the last couple of months, mate?
Yeah. Do you know what? The simplest answer is the boys can't finish their dinner. Like, they aren't finishing their steak dinner. Yeah. Cole Palmer is putting opportunities on the plate for a lot of players, and they're just not sort of.
His goals have dried up as well. I know you love him, but you enjoy you being incredibly soft on Cole Palmer on your part. It's as if it's as if the guy wasn't carrying you for so long, and now and it's a bit like me trying to slag Isak off. You don't want to because you understand what you've got with him, but the dip in form is quite clear in my opinion.
You know what really worries me about him is the body language at the moment. Like, I don't know if you remember this in the game, but he had an opportunity to sort of lob Martinez.
Yeah, 1v1, yeah.
Or pass it to Christopher Nkunku, who was completely free on the left-hand side. He slips over, does neither, and we don't score the goal. If he scores that goal or he lays it onto a Christopher Nkunku, there's two things. Cole Palmer breaks the goal drought, and it's a wonderful lobbed goal, and it's brilliant, and we're back to, the form that he was seeing. Or he passes it to Christopher Nkunku, and he gets loads more momentum and positivity around him, and we win the game. But that was almost like a sliding doors moment, really, and maybe for the entire season, in that he didn't do that, and so the pressure is going to go on. His performances haven't been good, and like I say, what worries me the most about him is the mentality at the moment. I am really concerned about him seeing himself, because rightly he is, but as far and away better than everyone else in the squad. And I do worry. Now, we don't have the problem that Jacob has with his 2-year contract, because he's on about an 85-year contract. But, if a player doesn't want to be there, you've seen players, push for moves outside of this. Look, if Real Madrid put a crazy offer in for Cole Palmer, or even if City came, knocking back on the door and put money back down, I could see them going, why wouldn't they be interested in a player of Cole Palmer's quality to bring him back? I think he
has to be in the Champions League with how good he is. I think that's the problem. That's the problem Newcastle have got with Isak. We got to give them the level of football they deserve.
Yeah, but you look at the reason why, and fair enough, yeah, maybe we are being a bit soft on him, Jerry and I, but look, if you look at the impact, 20 goal contributions this season for us, that's far and away above everyone else. So for us, right, we're watching the games week in, week out. We've got bigger problems than Cole Palmer.
Yeah, fair.
We've almost got every other player problem other than Cole Palmer. So quite frankly, I'm going to give him a bit of slack, and I'm going to slag off Christopher Nkunku or Neto or Sancho, who looks fucking shite.
I'm in my manager critical bag today. Maresca. How are we feeling about Maresca? Because I'm also seeing a few Chelsea fans ranting, saying
they're not impressed.
He's a con man that got the job prematurely. He's championship level and he's jumped now. This is how things can change in football. At Christmas, when you lot were right near the top of the league and you could have went top, greatest appointment ever. We fast forward to on Valentine's Day and the love is gone. Maresca, they're saying he's a fraud, some contingents of the Chelsea faithful now. What's going on? Talk to me, Josh. Is he or is he not?
I'm going to bring in Nuno, mate. I think he looks really good, and he was really good for you as well. Do you know what? Do you know what with Enzo is, and much like my previous point, there are so many other problems, and I don't think that Enzo is the issue. Like let's be honest, right? We set up against Villa with a new system where Reece James is inverting into midfield, but really is a defender as well. He's up and down the pitch. We play with Neto up front and 2 central number 10s in behind him rather than wingers, which is what we've been playing all season. Enzo acknowledged that the system wasn't working for the current personnel that we had, and he changed it. Much unlike some of our managers in most recent past, where they've had a tactical identity and they haven't changed it. I'm looking at you, Mauricio Pochettino, and you know how much I loved him, so it hurts me to criticise. but I do think that Enzo Maresca is making tactical changes in a way in which I hope he does. The biggest issue that I have with him is he can't make a substitution and he will never do it. And unfortunately, again, we go another game where we only make 2 subs in the Villa match.
Is the form alarming to you? Because you've only won 2 games since Christmas.
The form is really alarming, mate. But this is the thing. There are so many other issues with Chelsea right now in that we can't recruit the right players that we need to facilitate an Enzo Maresca system that I think most Chelsea fans, if they're being completely honest, can't really blame him too much.
I really am excited to see what happens with Chelsea because the fan base are really turning on everything right now. They're like, we want our Chelsea back. And it's like, bro, Roman Abramovich ain't coming back. And
he's never coming back.
And he was your Chelsea, essentially.
Yeah.
And that is the real issue here is, unfortunately, ownership in football, you get a lucky dip and there's some wild and wacky fucking blokes who end up owning football clubs these days. I mean, fuck me. Jim Radcliffe is like fucking Scrooge. He makes Mike Ashley look like Santa Claus, this guy. You just don't know who you're getting. And he came in the best package ever. I'm a Manchester-born boy. You don't know what you're getting. We are going to move on now. Liverpool versus Manchester City. A really good game, high-level game of football, in my opinion. And as much as Liverpool as much as Man City were good, actually, I thought in that game, Liverpool were just fucking unbelievably good. Like, and it's weird because I'm seeing performances out of players like Curtis Jones and I'm like, who the fuck are you anymore? Like, I thought you were just like a decent local lad, but you know, who was getting a kick around because, you know, he had a bit of potential, but the levels he's going to this season, for example, fucking hell, lads. What did we make of that game where they comfortably were just scoring past Man City? And now, a word from our sponsors. Have you been getting a load of spam in your email recently? Or what about those calls when some random gives you a ring? Some call centre where you can barely fucking hear them. It's annoying. Yeah, there's some shady guys out there called data brokers, and their job is literally to get your personal information. Your name, your email, your address, your political affiliation, the lot. And what they then do is they take it all and sell it all onto marketing agencies, which is why you're now getting bombarded with all this shit. And they've actually gone full Black Mirror now, where they're using like AI voices to try and get people, poor unsuspecting people, to hand over their cash. And this is where you hear about people getting huge loans taken out in their name without even knowing about it. This is how it happens. But luckily, this is where today's sponsor can be of help. You see, Incogni will reach out to these data brokers and ensure that your data is removed from their database. And because data brokers are always scouring it for your personal information, Incogni will continue policing it and making sure that your data does not appear online. All you've got to do is click the link in the description below, create an Incogni account, and tell them whose data you want removed. You then grant Incogni the right to work on your behalf, then you relax, and they will consistently update you as your data is removed. And the beauty of it is risk-free, because you can do a 30-day trial, and if it's not for you, they will give you a free refund. So click the link in the description below now and use our code KICKOFF, that's KICKOFF, block capitals, all one word, to get 60% off your annual plan.
Do you know what I thought was most impressive about Liverpool is how calm they looked. There was no, because really, you could dress this up as a cup final. Do you know what I mean? You could say, right, Arsenal have dropped points, you're going to the Etihad, difficult game.
Pressure's on.
You know, City are going to want to respond after what happened in Real Madrid. The pressure's on, and look, I hate saying this, they handle pressure in a way that make Arsenal look like children. Like the way that team handle it. And because relatively, Arsenal are children compared to Liverpool. These are Liverpool players who've got Champions League medals around their necks. These are Liverpool players who've won a Premier League in the last 4 years. And they just showed why. They turn up at the Etihad. They've got a game plan. They know how they want to play. Their best players are on best form. The leaders are out there on the pitch. As you say, Curtis Jones, I thought was unbelievable. And honestly, I agree with Brian. I thought City were good. But Liverpool look like champions. They just look like champions. And even in the games where Arsenal have won this season, I mean, we embarrassed City a few weeks ago, but it felt like the biggest moment of this club's season for us. It felt like for Arsenal, we've been waiting 10 years to do this to Man City. Liverpool, it's just look routine. We just turn up.
Oh my God, you're so fucking right, mate. This was business as usual. And again, I thought Man City were ready to mentally collapse a bit earlier this season when you did that to them. But against Real Madrid in the first game, they played quite well, even though they lost that game. Then against Newcastle, they fucking smashed us and they looked really back to their best. And I do think they've recovered a little bit and they're looking they're looking like getting Champions League now. They look really good. It's just the level Liverpool are on. We got to talk about Mo Salah, lads. 41 goals and assists in 27 Premier League games. We are witnessing a Messi Ronaldo level season. This is, we're looking at someone who potentially is eclipsing Thierry Henry right now. I'm not saying he is, before everyone gets annoyed, but he's right up there as one of the greatest Premier League players of all time. And he's doing a madness at an age that, have we seen someone this old perform this well in the Premier League? I don't know. It's unreal, lads.
Mo Salah, I'm glad you brought Mo Salah because I was looking at those stats yesterday and my mind was actually blown. I knew he was having an incredible season, but to see the numbers and the assists that he's putting up, this isn't just a fantastic forward display this season from him. This is an all-round footballer display.
Ballon d'Or,
he, for me, right now, best in the world. Like, I don't really think that's a discussion. Okay, Mbappe's hit a bit of form and he might be something there to maybe potentially look at as the season goes on. But for me, what Mo Salah's doing, and like we said, Liverpool look like they've wrapped up the league already. So really, it's just about how many other pieces of silverware they can add to that. And I think with Salah in the form he's in right now, the world's their oyster. They could add as many as possible. When I watch him play, it's mad to say because we've been watching him for years now, but he still does things that blow my mind in games. Like the way he takes the ball, the way he dribbles at players, even what he did for that second goal, the way he's like plucked it out of the air, turned in, dribbled left and right, laid it off for the assist. Like he makes things look so easy, and any defender that comes up against him is stressed. And you could pick the best defenders in the world. They are stressed knowing when Mo Salah's on it, which he is these days, that it's going to be a problem. So I want to give him his flowers, but quickly I want to give Arne Slot his flowers as well. Because honestly, what he's done with this team, uncomfortable conversations might need to be had with the Liverpool fans about how he's upgraded on Klopp. He's really took it to the next level because
he really has.
Klopp was a revelation for Liverpool. And I'm not trying to disrespect Klopp, right, and create these discussions. Got one defeat so far all season, and Liverpool have never looked this balanced.
Can I just link back to something that Jacob said before as well? Mentality shift, right? Under Klopp, we've seen Klopp on the sidelines, a raving fucking lunatic of a man by the end, right? He'd lost his head, he was horrible to the reporters, and a guy who I used to love as a manager just became an unbearable prick, right? And don't tell me that energy is not translating to the anxiety levels of his players, because it absolutely was on the pitch, right? And don't get me wrong, he was still getting a lot out of them. They still were performing. But the calmness that Jacob highlighted earlier in the way that they got rid of Man City in that game is indicative of who Arne Slot is. That's transferring that we've got this, and the lack of panic in them when anything doesn't go right. It's unbelievable, because Newcastle earlier this season, we gave everything against Liverpool and we could still only draw. And that was our best. You know what I mean? Unbelievable.
Mate, it is a bit like with Arne Slot, though. It is a bit like, do you remember you always have that mate that goes, oh yeah, I took over Man City in Football Manager and I won the Champions League 5 times in a row. And you go, yeah, well done, mate, but that isn't actually that difficult. It's just like, he has taken over pretty much a team in the absolute peak of their, of their experience.
They finished third last season.
I disagree. This could have been a nightmare season. Think about what this season could have been with those 3 contracts. That's the most impressive bit for me. The 3 best players could all have left, and they still might. By the way, I suspect 2 of them will stay. I think Van Dijk and Salah stay. But think what the season could have been. A season in transition where City could have just gone and won it again, where Arsenal could have finished ahead of them. Arne Slot coming in, trying to change the tactical and the mindset identity of that team. Imagine how wrong this season could have gone. There are Liverpool fans I know who were saying, listen, Champions League is a result. If we can get Champions League, hang on in there and re-sign 1 or 2 of those players, that's a result. The fact that there's a good chance they're going to re-sign 2 of them, in my opinion, lose the one that you're okay losing and win a title. And let's be real here, they are probably favourites for the Champions League. They finished number 1 in that group stage.
Yeah.
Mate, when you think about the variable of what this season could have been for Liverpool and what it's probably going to be, the job he's done in 12 months, stick it up there as one of the best first 12 months in a job that any manager has done. Because, by the way, Arteta comes into Arsenal, we finish 8th a couple of times. Pep goes into City with an unlimited budget. They finish 6th, first of all. He comes into Liverpool. Liverpool fans are ready to say top 4's okay, and he's just won it like that. Honestly, you've got to talk about this manager as going in there and doing one of the most serious jobs you can do in the first 12 months in a season that could have gone to shit. With 3 stars, you could have left. You have to give him his respect.
Yeah.
I'll move on to Newcastle because that was very well put, Jacob. We played Forest, who are 3rd and 5th now in the Premier League, and a really important game for us because I felt like if we don't win this, we're then just so far away from a top 4 mentally, not necessarily in points, but mentally. We've just had a few performances lately where we didn't look focused against Man City. I have, I've been known to lose my shit with Newcastle over the years, right? But bad performances. This is the most emotional season I have ever been through because I don't know what the fuck is coming next, right? They're a bipolar football club in that at the start of the season, we started so shit. Then we went on this 10 win in a row run. And then we have some horrific performances in between some good performances. And that one game kind of against Forest showed Newcastle at our absolute best and our absolute worst in that we go a goal down from ridiculous defending, ridiculous goalkeeping, and then we score 4 goals in 11 or 12 minutes. It felt like it was going to be 10 by the end of the game. Second half, come out, completely take the foot off the gas, complete shit, completely let them back in it. We're hanging on for dear life at the end, and I'm like, I don't know how much more of this shit I can take. Like, and the part of the reason of our bipolar performances, because I do think in the Premier League we see inconsistent clubs, but Newcastle, where the most, like, the range between how good and how bad we can be is as dramatic as humanly possible. There's games against Man City where we just, and it's not just City, there's other games against Brighton and other teams where we just don't turn up and we completely mentally bottle it before the game. We can look at in the first 5 minutes at Newcastle and be like, they're just not interested today. They can't be us. Lazy, weak-minded bastards. And then in other games, we look like mountains of men and we're just soldiers out there just dying for each other on the football pitch. And it was a rough game, and I think part of the reason for that is a lack of leadership, really, and a lack of quality in key areas. Centre back right now, Dan Burn, God love him, he's been a hell of a signing, and Fabian Shaw has been a cheap, good value signing. But at the level we're trying to get at, they're just not going to be good enough. And the lack of leadership and the lack of calmness that we see from that Liverpool side, we don't have that calmness. Bruno Guimaraes is our captain. He's not really a captain. You know what I mean? We need calm heads in there, a bit more leadership, and someone to say to these lads, right, this is what's going to happen. And in that game, there was a lot of poor performances. I want to highlight a couple of good performances. Lewis Hall at left back, 20 years old. What a fucking signing he has been. He really looks like the future of the England setup. And it just so calm, such a cool head on young shoulders. And Lewis Miley, I've been banging on about him for about a year now. He had an injury. Jamie Carragher apparently said he hadn't kicked on. I'm like, well, he's been fucking injured. What do you want from him? But every time his boots touch the grass of St. James's, he looks seriously more gifted than all of almost everyone apart from Isak. Like, when he's got this thing that Yaya Toure had. Right? And I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Yaya Toure, but there's one quality that I look at him and I go, you've got that. When Yaya Toure received the ball with his back to goal or whatever in midfield and people were charging around him to hassle the ball off him, he knew where everyone was and he knew the exact right pass to make so that he didn't lose possession and that he moved the team up the pitch. Lewis Miley's got that. And now that's unusual to see in a fucking 18-year-old lad. And when he brings the ball forward, he can strike a ball so nicely with both feet. We've seen a goal in the FA Cup earlier this season where it looked like a fucking Beckham-esque goal. This time, takes it down on his left, awkward. He'd got to swing and turn it, rattles it into the bottom corner through defender's legs. I don't know how good he's going to be, lads, but I think he could be fucking amazing. I just hope that he gets the game time because the reality is Eddie Howe is a defensive manager who does want us to be good off the ball. But Lewis Miley is streets ahead of Joe Linton on the ball. And really, he should starting games soon. depending on who we're playing, he should be first choice, I think. And one other thing is Eddie Howe's substitutions. He's a good manager, but his substitutions, they drive me fucking crazy. I need to see at the end of Harvey Barnes, because he's absolute fucking shit. And that's probably pretty much all I've got to say. I feel sorry for Forest, by the way, because they did turn up in the second half. And you know, the manager, he didn't shake Eddie Howe's hand at the end after the game. Ooh. He was a bit bitter, bit salty.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say on it, lads?
Do you know what? I think Forest are a really interesting comparison for Newcastle. Cause I think if you look at the squad building, it's like Newcastle have got these stars. You know, your Anthony Gordon, your Isaacs, your Brunos. But then the floor of your squad is championship level.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, Harvey Barnes should be better than he is. But in terms of some of the substitutions or the selections that Eddie Howe has to make, sometimes I feel sorry for him because it's like you've either got international level players who are going to light up the next World Cup, or you've got someone who could be in the mid-table of the Championship next season, and there's not much in between. I feel like what Forest have done, and we should say Forest have spent a lot of money, they've been penalised for doing so, but they've just got so many reliable 7.5 out of 10 players. And I please don't take that as like being 7.5 out of 10. They've got so many just like quality. Europa League quality level players. So that front three behind Chris Wood, Ilanga, Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White, it's
Gibbs-White,
all of them would start for Newcastle. All of them would. They've got other players who like, I just think they've been put together so well. And it's just such good talent spotting. It's so consistent throughout the team. Murillo in defence, great player. Like, they're just so well put together. They're so well managed. And I know people will be screaming at me going, they got a points deduction because
I wish we would have just taken the fucking points deduction and went for it. Why not?
Maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe teams should be looking at it going, you know what? For the sake of losing, what did they lose? 6 points? 8 points?
Yeah.
And they survived.
But in the long game,
so high.
In the long game, it's proven totally worth it.
100%.
I mean, what the fuck are we saying when we're saying that the best way to win in the Premier League is to just take the points deductions? But like, it's such a good squad.
I can see them. They've got you guys next, haven't they, Jacob?
Yeah, I'm trying to think
Arsenal,
Craig.
No, but I'm saying, I feel like if they lose that game, which I anticipate, I know it's a very difficult game for Arsenal without having a striker, and a lot of Arsenal fans are feeling down about it already, but I think Arsenal need to respond. Honestly, if I had to put my money on it, I do think Arsenal will get through that game. And if they do lose that game, Forest, I can just see them slipping out of the top four. Because
I don't know if they will, you know.
Yeah.
If you had to put money on it right now, I'd put my money on Forest winning that game.
Really?
I would, yeah.
Really?
I would, because as Jacob's just rightly said, they're so well balanced. And what are Arsenal right now? They're not well balanced. They're very imbalanced at the top end.
And if you look at where they're so we've obviously lost Miles Lewis-Skelly, right? Red card, so he's going to miss this game. It's going to be Calafiori. And this is fucking insane that I'm saying this, but we need our 18-year-old midfielder at left back, not our £40 million summer signing at left back, because Calafiori has been shown he cannot handle fast, tricky wingers. And what Forest got?
Lot of them.
Ilanga, Hudson-Odoi, and how did he score goals?
Have you guys lost the game back to back games this season? I don't think you have. Has there been an incident where you've lost the game and then lost the next game? Because you ain't lost many games this season in all competitions.
No, I mean, we've had a lot of draws this year.
In the Premier League, you definitely haven't. So what I'm going by is, okay, but this season, what I'm going by is I haven't really seen Arsenal under Arteta lose a game and then go out and lose the next game. They usually bounce back and they usually find a way, whether it's a set piece, whatever it needs to be. You rarely see this Arsenal team lose back-to-back games. Maybe you're lost in a draw, but to see them lose against Forest, I don't know. I feel like, yes, Liverpool look overwhelming favourites right now, but I still believe that Arsenal are going to get the result they need to get against Forest. Obviously, I'm putting my hands up saying it. Forest could definitely win this game. Make no mistake.
Or Forest could get a draw. They could
get a draw, but I feel like Arsenal don't have a choice but to win this game. They really do not have a choice but to win this game. And if they do, I don't know how Forest keeps going, because if Newcastle win their game, granted it's against Liverpool, tricky. And
fuck me, mate. There's never been a worse game to play.
Yeah. And if Man City win their game, which is actually it's against us, and they got a bad record against us, even though we're poor. But if those two win their games, they're on the same points as Forest already. And then it just starts to look a bit shaky with 11 games to go. So I'd be surprised if Forest is still in the top four come the end of the season.
It'll be five, though. It'll be five. It will be five for Champions League, most likely.
It looks that way, yeah.
Five, because who else is in the hunt? You got Bournemouth right there. You got Chelsea. Villa, Chelsea. Even Brighton are mathematically only 4 points. Or 7
I feel like Forest will make top 5 because of the fight that they showed in that Newcastle match. Like, I thought they were dead and buried mentally, and they did come back.
Yeah.
And they showed something. And coming under these games this week, Newcastle's lack of concentration will be punished by Liverpool, right? I'm kind of mentally breaking a little bit when it comes to this cup final and thinking about, just because you just can't watch Newcastle and think we can hold out that level of attack. We're going to need Liverpool to massively underperform in the cup final to win that, in my opinion, and us to have a really good game. And I'd just be shocked if we win in midweek at Anfield. I mean, that would be, I'd literally be stunned. I think Forest have a better chance of getting a point of Arsenal than we have at Liverpool. Well, 100%. Yeah. We'll wrap that up there, lads. It's been a good chat on the kickoff. Let us know what you think of everything in the comments below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.